Are you ready, Jake?
Yes.
Are you ready, Steve?
Ready, Anthony?
Yeah. Nick? Okay. All right, fellas. Let's go. You know that song?
I don't know that song.
The girl in the back said, everyone taking a turn to a ballroom blitz.
Oh, of course. I love that song.
Yeah, good song. And that song is definitely not in the movie you're making me watch today, because the movie you're making me watch today is A Ghost Story, written and directed by David Lowery, 2017. Small budget. Is this an indie film?
It's $100,000 budget.
Is that considered independent?
That's considered like almost impossible to make a movie. Never mind make a movie with stars of this kind. Casey Affleck was underneath that sheet the entire movie. That was him.
Awesome.
It was self-funded, so I think that that's the definition of independent filmmaking.
100%. It
They
doesn't
always
get
got
more
the money
independent.
together, and we're like, let's do this.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And
It's like,
you're
I
gonna
got an
put it under
idea.
a sheet,
He's like,
Pretty impressive.
I'm for it.
and we're gonna shoot it in 4:3
Even better.
with rounded corners.
It was like a
Tell me
poem.
more.
It was just a poem. It was a visual poem.
A visual poem? Well, do you have a poem for the movie that you picked?
I'm gonna have a haiku.
That was a nice transition.
Haiku's a poem.
Okay. Well, then I have a poem.
That's a type of poem.
But I will go last. I'll go last on this one.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Okay.
I'll go first. I got one.
Go
All right.
first.
All right, mine says funny, spooky, sad. Not a Halloween movie. Her note said, fuck pie.
That's a good one.
All
I
right.
have an idea of what her note said too.
You didn't know what her note said.
We'll never know.
I have an idea though.
Everyone's got ideas. I don't want
All
to.
right, but mine's better than yours.
What? I don't have a real idea. I just said fuck
Weird that
pie
you
for
would
the
think
haiku.
that.
Well, no, his is just like kind of like just generic though. I think mine kind of worked.
Okay.
Okay. What's your
Okay.
poem, Jake?
My haiku is Rooney Mara eats. Casey Affleck wears a sheet. Time is a construct.
Time is a construct.
Ghost in the sheets. Pie tastes like dog shit sandwich. Poetic movie.
Pie tastes like dog shit sandwich. Because it was
I had-
vegan.
I heard she hated the taste of the pie.
Because
I
it was
actually
vegan.
loved it because it was vegan.
I mean, I think she's vegan because she's married to Joaquin Phoenix, who's like
I
the
don't.
biggest
I don't think
vegan.
that's why she's vegan, but
I think so.
they
I think that's
probably
what
got
made her
married
vegan.
because they were both separately vegan. That's probably what attracted.
Is
each other.
Rooney Mara vegan?
I mean, she's
Yes.
married to what's his name, so probably.
Rooney Mara and Casey Affleck are both vegans.
Oh,
How do you know that?
Too.
Is there a list?
Yeah, there's definitely lists.
I just know because she's married to Joaquin Phoenix. So if
We
you're married to
talked-
Joaquin Phoenix,
yeah.
you're gonna be vegan.
Why Joaquin Phoenix is vegan?
Oh, he's the biggest vegan I know.
BV Uni?
I mean, I don't even know him. He's the biggest vegan I know of.
He's a pretty big activist, as is
He
Rooney
is.
Mara, and
He
that's
is.
they probably met at a fucking rally or something.
Probably they were probably saving chickens.
Either way,
The vegans I know
chocolate
that
pies
go
probably
to
taste
those-
like poo-poo.
Animal rights seminars and rallies and stuff. They say they often see Joaquin and Rooney hanging out.
Oh, Joaquin and Rooney, they're married, huh? That's cool.
Yep.
Is she British?
No,
No,
All right.
good old American.
her sister's the chick from House of Cards that gets pushed in front of the train tracks. That's her
Kate
sister
Mara.
in real life.
Spoiler alert for the end of season 1 or beginning of season 2. I
Yeah,
don't
you
remember.
definitely
Dude,
watched
House
it,
of
but
Cards
that's
was made
about
in
season 2.
2014. If you haven't seen it by now, go fuck yourself.
I feel
Well,
like
we
that was
learned
like
that-
episode 2 of season 2.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's
That
like
was wild.
I think it's the
That
last
sounds-
episode of season 1.
I almost feel like it was
I feel
the
like
first,
it's the beginning
first
of
or
season
second.
2.
I
It's
agree
like-
with you. I think
it's
it
like
is.
a wild start to season 2.
I know David
Yeah.
Fincher directed the episode. I know that.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
It was a good one. What are we talking about? This one, $100,000 made about $2 million worldwide.
That's a
So
big
that's a
come up. Yeah, they made
Decent
money
return.
off this movie.
Only
Shot-
2?
Shot in Texas. Man, not even 2 actually, but almost 2, like 1.8.
Oh, okay.
This movie didn't
something.
release in a lot of theaters. This was like a very independent film, so it probably
That's
didn't have a
true.
chance to make a lot of money.
It's also
Did you
a
see
weird
it in
one.
theaters? I saw it in theaters.
I did see it in theaters. The trailer for this movie is one of the best trailers of all time.
Yeah, I was
'Cause
definitely.
it presents
looking
you
forward
with
to it,
so
yeah.
many questions. You're just like, wait, what? And I was like, I need these questions answered.
Yeah.
And it's a different type of movie than I thought it would be too. I thought it was going to lead towards more like the outwardly philosophical, and meaning that like there was going to be a lot of dialogue talking about things, but it wasn't. You were experiencing things, and it was still philosophical, just in a different way. You know what I mean? Like that whole scene where she's eating the pie is pretty crazy. I mean, it's easy, but it's pretty crazy. And then the scene where the dudes are in this kitchen talking about like dying or whatever, that was pretty fun. Just the way that was going.
Explaining
the
just
movie.
everything.
The movie's based off an article. Well, not that it's based off an article. It's like this dude, David Lowery, read an article that was published that was about like the end of the world, basically, which was what that dude was talking about. And he was like, well, what kind of movie would I make if I knew the world was going to end, and I wanted to make a movie about like time? And this is what he came up with, which is pretty great. I think this movie's really good. I think this is a pretty solid film. It's really like the definition of filmmaking, and it's like a visual medium. You know what I mean? Like he tells a really great story with almost no dialogue, but everything you're supposed to know and every beat it's supposed to hit actually like hits pretty hard.
Yeah,
every
definitely.
frame's like a picture.
It is.
I think it's a very artsy film.
Super artsy.
Like using that to the advantage because there's no dialogue, like any dialogue.
Yeah, there's probably, I don't even know how many, probably like 10 total pages of dialogue in this whole movie. If
They said the prognosticator, the guy who was talking in the middle of the table, of the tweakers. I thought they were tweakers. They might not have been tweakers.
They're just partiers.
He had like double the lines of both of the main characters combined.
Dude telling the story about the end of the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. They were just having conversations. They weren't even like reading, like they weren't even like their dialogue didn't progress the story in any way. They were just showing like two people living together and like the conversations they would have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that was a good way of I mean, I don't want to like say like forcing in the message, but it was kind of like his way of saying in like a more of a subtle way of like, this is what this movie's about. And
which is what
the passage of time, how you shouldn't get too attached to things and appreciate the things that are there for when they're there and things like that. And I don't, there was a lot to what that guy said. Like there's some things that like you could take from it that nothing matters and that we're all just going to die and we're all just going to be washed away and who gives a shit. Like there's a lot you could go both ways with that, I think.
I mean, I get
accept that, or you can accept that it's all going to be over and head that way, but then something can snap you back to wanting to basically live in the moment. I think is what he was saying. Like something reminds you. He was using the music, like Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, as somebody starts humming that again, and that brings you back to the moment, makes you want to get up, and makes you want to write that story, and makes you want to finish whatever task you were doing.
I mean, I feel like the reincarnation is a big theme in this too. That even the ghosts like go through the cycle of seeing himself and her again.
Yeah, so a ghost can die. Like he can jump off the building.
I think a ghost has like unfinished business. You know what I mean? It's almost like Casper style. Like every time like their business was finished, they just disappeared from under the sheet. So as soon as he read what she had to put in there, he just disappeared. You know what I mean?
But when he jumps off the building, he like went back in time.
Well, everyone knows that when a ghost
that's about.
When a ghost kills itself, they just restart.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Yeah,
about that. I was taught that.
That's a thing.
That.
Just a restart. Yeah, reset button. So he just reset. He's like, fuck this building. I'm out. I got to go back to the original time. And
what's cool about this movie is that it doesn't over explain what's going on too. It's like it just shows you. It just shows you. It shows you everything. It doesn't explain. They have that kind of middle scene of the guy literally explaining things, but for the most part, like it doesn't. It shows you. I'm watching that end scene right now where he's back in time, and it just shows you don't know. I didn't know that he was at the house.
Oh, I did. He was always at the house. He was always there.
Well, in the beginning, though,
he left.
Yeah. In the beginning, we don't know that, but he was always there.
He walked home.
There was a shot in the very beginning that was like a glimmer of light, and like he was always kind of hovering there because he had to reset in time. So he was always there with them the whole time.
Yeah,
we didn't know that in the beginning, but
but I'm just saying
What are you gonna say?
when he goes back in time
To the Puritan days, like the Pilgrim days.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's a short scene when he's there, and then they all get murdered, and then he watches them
Yeah.
decompose. But like it then it just shows him in the house when
Yeah.
they're like in modern, like back to when they're moving in.
Yeah.
And that like but you know what I'm saying is when it cuts back to him, I didn't know that he was back at the house. It didn't hit me like that, but it was then it was explained to you by the visuals, which was great. Or maybe even explained to you right when she hid the thing under the rock. Maybe that was made it obvious, but I don't know. It was cool. It didn't over explain it. It
I
had a little respect for him.
I think I thought it was the house just because why else would he be standing in that place? You know what I mean? That would probably be where he'd be. That's where the whole thing's been.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
always the same
Everything's
location.
been
Well,
there.
yeah, I mean, he left.
That's the only thing
that
I'm
was
saying.
what I was thinking, because he left and then he jumped off the building and then he just appears back at the house.
Well, I think the building was still the place where it was like.
Yeah, the building was where the
geographically,
house was.
The location, it was just built on top of everything.
Yeah.
And then when he
the
hopped
building's
off,
definitely where the house was.
then it just
It's
reset
just showing the future.
to the same. Yeah, then it just reset to the same location. And that's where like
yeah.
this, and it because like it showed like the foundation of that as not like the house was built at that point, but it showed like a guy building a house immediately in that position. And then there was something I noticed. I think the girl was humming his song. So there was like a little girl working on shit.
There is. She's humming his
she
song.
like hum the song. Yeah.
Yep.
That only took
By
my
the
phone
way,
to watch.
the soundtrack to this movie and that song itself was absolutely perfect for this film. Like I enjoy the song. I think the song's a great song, but like especially because for this film, it fit perfectly.
That
It was
vibe,
spot on. Yeah. Even just like him recording it was kind of cool. Like all those scenes of like you weren't sure what he was making, but like and then in the end when she listens to it, like my favorite parts of this movie are the parts with her when she's coping and the part right after and the parts
He's
right
just
after.
standing there while they're building around him. That's
the part when the Spanish family moves
Really
in and he
good.
like ends up like haunting them and like throwing the dishes around. That was also my favorite part of the movie. Like
That was great.
That portion of the movie is my favorite. I think it slows down a little bit after that, which is fine because it's still entertaining, but that was just so good. Love that fucking part.
Yeah, that turned into it was a haunted house movie like that.
Yeah.
That was cool. It was a cool way
Well,
to like
it wasn't-
explain it because it's so silly.
And that's why this is a
Just walking
Halloween
around
movie.
it is a good Halloween movie. I think this was a good choice. I'm surprisingly like this movie a lot more than I thought. I mean, I really didn't have anything. I didn't know what it was about other than you telling me I probably wouldn't like it. But
I didn't think you were
ended
gonna
up
like it
liking-
because I thought you just think it was boring and that it really didn't mean anything or wasn't.
it should
like,
be
it was-
boring, but it's
Yeah,
not.
you're right.
There's
You're right.
something. There's
There's something
something
great about the visual of his version, like this thing walking around like that. It's great. It's one of the best ghosts I've ever seen.
Immediately,
Honestly,
the aspect got me. Like at first, I was like, "All right, this is kind of gimmicky," but no, every frame was beautiful, and they especially in the beginning when they held on frames for so long. And he's walking through the office. Oh, so this is still at the house. This is great.
Yeah.
This movie's great.
That's because that's
I
why it
love
was
this movie.
demolished. It was
I think I
demolished.
love
so they
this
could build
movie.
that city. Yeah.
do you know what's so great about this movie too? Is
I'm
it
glad.
feels like
Great.
it's made by a person who loves making movies. Like this
It
is a
feels
dude
like it
who's
was
I
made-
want to make this movie. You know,
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
this guy loves
and,
making movies.
and with like his friends that all shared the same passion for this project. It seemed it was because it had to be a small crew, but it seemed
Well,
like
Yeah.
it seemed
we're
fun
funny-
to make this movie.
Casey Affleck in a sheet, an Academy Award winner, wears a sheet for most of a movie. That's
As-
definitely a friend move.
As like
Also, they made a
sad this
movie-
is. I'm sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
They made a movie together before this, the three of them, Casey Affleck,
They
Rooney
did,
Mara,
yeah.
and him. It's called Eight Them Body Saints. It's kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde kind of movie in like 1920s of like a couple, which was good. It was a good
It's
movie.
pretty
and
cool,
then they
yeah.
made this,
I love
yeah.
Clyde.
So they already had a pretty good working relationship. And then he made a movie called Peach Dragon, which is obviously the remake of the old Disney movie, but that was like a big budget movie. And then he took $100,000 from he probably was paid a couple $100,000 to do it, and he took $100,000 and he made this. I mean, all this movie takes place in basically one location, so it's like it's not much to it. Like it's just a really
the house.
really
was-
well constructed story, man.
Yeah. For the setting, just a note: what the house was actually already scheduled for demolition.
Yeah.
So that's
they
why
got to
he
use
was
it for free.
Read that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
free or super cheap or something, and then
Yeah.
they just filmed the demolition.
Yep.
as part of the movie.
Yo,
so
that was
pretty
probably
funny.
some of the most beautiful
Interesting.
shot. One of the most beautiful shots is when he's
When it comes
standing
through.
there. Well,
Mhm.
when he because he also at that moment
The
he
scary
has the
part.
note. He like grabs the note
Yeah.
Yep. He's reading
and
it. Or he's about to read it.
he's about to read it, and then that
Yeah.
happens. So, and I wonder like why didn't he just read the note? But
I don't think it was fully out yet, and I think the thing coming through like distracted him, and then the whole thing just got torn
Stupid
up. So I
fucking
think it was just bad timing. Get all that
BT
time.
for she. As sad as this movie like constantly is, because it is just a constantly like melancholy.
It's melancholy is the word. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a Smashing Pumpkin song, like the whole time. He's just listening to like Tonight or fucking yeah. It's just a fucking Smashing Pumpkin song.
Yeah, that's this movie.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I love Smashing Pumpkin songs. It's not lie. I think they're great.
as melancholy as it is, it seemed like they had a fun making. I listened to some interviews with them. It seemed like they had just a blast making this movie, and it seemed like while they were making this movie, I don't know if they knew that it was gonna be this kind of melancholy. It seemed like there was a lot, like maybe a few more funny parts that this movie could have been funnier than it is, and there were funny
Well,
parts in it, but.
I mean, I've heard a bunch of interviewers ask him like about the visual of the ghost on the poster, which is the visual that made him make the movie. And they asked him like, what did you think? He's like, I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny looking.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was
Yeah.
kind of hilarious. And then I think it just grew. That visual just grew into this story because
Into a good story.
just into something that he could like something that he could say philosophically, but also make like honestly. There's movies you watch where after you watch them you go, damn, like. Not only was that a great movie, but I wish I like could have made that movie because of what it is like. Like when I saw Whiplash, I felt that way. When I saw Nightcrawler, I felt that way. When I saw Skeleton Key, I felt that I was like, man, this is just such a pretty low key and low stakes to make, but it's really really well constructed stories with really good acting and really interesting characters. And this especially is a super interesting story because there's no dialogue. It's just a visual all the way visual, and the music is absolutely perfect. The music drives this movie. The music is in the driver's seat of this movie the whole way. Like it's really fucking good. I'm glad you like this because this is like my third time seeing this movie, and I think I like it more and more every time.
It's just a beautiful art piece is what it is. You could watch it with the sound off.
Yeah, you could.
You should.
All right, so Jake, you want to tell us about this movie? What happens or what?
Yeah. Let's go.
He dies, comes back. She eats pie. He's sad. He lives. He dies. He comes back. He reads the note. It's gone.
Sure. I guess that's what happens.
Well, see you next week.
Just kidding. I mean, not really, but
Not really, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean the pretty much the movie starts with them just laying in bed together, and she's talking about leaving a note in places where she's moved out of. That's the first thing they talk about. And Casey Affleck is looking at some light and kind of sees this like hazy figure breaking the light up in the bedroom, like thinking that's weird. They live together in a house. They're a married couple, kind of an older house. Make some weird noises at night and all that jazz. And
hear piano sounds.
Yeah, there's one time they hear a clang on the piano. We don't really realize these scenes are important until I think later on. They go investigate. There's that that's a little later. The more about their relationship is that she doesn't seem very happy living there. She's like looking for other places to live.
Yeah, she wants to move to LA. He wants to stay in that house.
Yeah. And the relationship seems kind of a little distant too. Like there's a little bit of a thing there, you know?
Yeah, there's like one time where she's talking about the piano and he just kind of like trails off and back to work in his computer. He's a musician. Does it ever show what she does?
Not really sure. I don't think so. No. The whole movie before he croaks is her just like trying to either like pack up the house or trying to find a way to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like they are like they're in the process of moving. He's just not down. He doesn't like it.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to want to leave.
Yeah, because they're like he's moving because they were talking about getting moved to the piano instead of so. Yeah, they're in the process of moving. This is classic A24 opening. I feel like maybe not a classic A24 movie, but in that like slightly normal, slightly dysfunctional family having one of them dies in usually like a horrific way early on, and then the story just goes on about their grief.
Yeah, this is basically like a less scary Hereditary.
Yeah.
Much less scary.
Hereditary or Midsommar. I guess more Hereditary than Midsommar. Nobody, but
Yeah,
same thing.
no cults in this one.
Weird thing
Or-
happens.
or is
Family
there?
members die in a horrible way.
Yep. So Casey Affleck dies in a horrible way. He gets hit by a car pretty much in their driveway.
Yeah, right as
out
he's
front.
like right out front, which
Yeah,
is
right
a
out
great
front.
the way I mean, I know we said this earlier, but the shots in this movie are pretty great, and the way that like that is revealed is pretty awesome. You
Yeah,
just,
they have.
like,
Well, they
hear it.
establish it great. They establish the front,
Yeah.
that front of the shot first with that super long dolly,
Yeah.
like minutes long dolly of her dragging like a box out to the street. And does
Yep.
she kind of almost like look over at like the area and crashes the car? Like
I
in
don't
that
know.
shot and then walks back in.
I love that shot
Maybe
though.
so,
And it just but the cool thing about the car crash scene is that like you hear it and the camera's pointed at the house and you don't see anything. And then a small child like starts to run towards it and it starts panning right, and then you see the car crash and then it cuts to a
There's a small
shot of
child.
him dead. Yeah, in the yard next to her is like there's a couple of children like 200 or 300 feet away playing.
I thought that was just a person. It looked small because it was far away, but it could have been a
Maybe it's
child.
little person.
Pretty sure it was a child, or it could have been a little person.
Oh, I do see a little person walking toward it. Yeah, I never noticed that.
Yeah,
I
the
didn't
lo-
even remember hearing it. I just remember seeing that shot, seeing the smoke,
You
and
hear,
then it
like,
just
Blaker and, like,
slow.
You hear like
Oh,
it,
okay,
like,
yeah,
almost
yeah,
like
yeah.
like a little crash, like a little bit, like not anything crazy. Because I don't think it was that crazy. Which I mean, it's crazy that he died right there. I wonder how fast someone was going for him to die right there.
his
So
body
crazy.
didn't even look too beat up because then we
Yeah.
cut to him laying in the hospital dead. She's identifying the body and has like a cut on his forehead. He seems fine. My theory is that it was a muffler through the heart and the sheet was just blocking the hole through his chest.
He had no lower half, is my opinion. Like,
No lower
you never
half.
see lower half.
Yes, I like
You
that
halved me,
theory.
Dewey. You halved me.
Yeah,
You have the wrong son. I mean,
cut
the-
directly up.
it was a head-on collision.
Wrong kid died.
Head-on collision going, any speed above 30, 40 miles an hour is not going to be a good thing.
8 miles an hour.
8
He was
miles?
literally
Back in
pulling out.
Michigan?
How fast is he pulling out of his driveway?
He was pulling into his driveway, I think, because the car
He
was
was-
pointed towards the
Oh.
driveway.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah,
Which car is he in? The red one or the
red one? The red one, yeah. Well, he's in the car
let's-
that he's in.
You shut up, Jim.
Yeah, you tell us. You're watching it.
You tell
Sherlock.
me. Either way, it's yeah, he's in the red one. Yeah, he was coming toward it. So the other car was fucking barreling down the road,
Yeah,
doing about
probably doing like
50,
50. Yeah.
smashed head on into him. Airbag didn't go off.
Fucking halved him.
So she's gonna get a big settlement.
All right, so this dude's dead. She goes to see him at the
There's
morgue,
glass
identify the
everywhere,
body.
but the window's not broken. I wonder what that's about. That's just bad property.
Yeah. Some projectile had to go through his chest directly, and then it was just all off camera.
We can't see chest down. I mean,
It's
he
true.
could be halved.
Yeah.
He could be
This
like,
movie-
like
Say-
in Signs when
This
the
movie does a
truck
lot
was
of good
holding
stuff, yeah.
The mom together.
Yeah,
Right.
swing away, Meryl. Swing away.
Swing away, Meryl.
Probably what it was. He got the
As soon
insides
as we
crushed.
move the truck, she's gonna die.
Probably what it was. He
That's
got
one of Mel
crushed-
Gibson's best movies.
Crushed real good.
That's not a Mel. I mean,
I'm talking
like,
about as an
best
actor.
role. Oh,
Yeah, it's one of his best
Yeah,
roles.
he's phenomenal. All the stories he
Yeah.
tells.
Yeah.
When you were born.
Shout out to
Anyway,
another
go ahead.
Joaquin Phoenix movie.
Another Joaquin. That's a great Joaquin Phoenix movie.
Joaquin's the man.
Joaquin's not
Yeah.
in this movie.
I know, but he
he's
works
not.
with these people, in life with Rooney Mara, and then he was in the
Yeah,
movie.
Casey Affleck directed the movie
Yeah.
where he pretended to be crazy.
Exactly.
Pretended.
Yeah, he did. He was
Movie
like,
was-
like Andy Kaufman'd him.
Movie was genius. It was
It was pretty great.
It was very Andy Kaufman. Like
He
that
got
was-
so
I really liked
fat.
that one. Yeah.
He got so fat and gross. He was just like literally just like grew out his beard. He looked
a-
like fucking Andy Kaufman.
2-year commitment to insanity. It's just some
Yeah.
fucking crazy project.
And then he came back and did 2 PTA movies back to back. It was pretty dope.
So if you're gonna, get a good career revival, PTA is a good move, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Ever since he made that movie, he's made some incredible films.
Yeah. Got himself an Oscar.
You got to
Yeah.
go weird and then come right back from it.
Yeah. Yo,
like,
he
"Hey,
pretended to be
I
a
was just
rapper.
kidding."
That shit was great.
That he was quitting acting and going to be a rapper. What a
Yeah.
fucking
I like
what a
the
good, and it was
cocaine and the
shot as
hookers.
a documentary. So fucking good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this dude wakes up in the morgue and he's under a sheet and he's a ghost.
Yeah,
And he
classic
gets up.
visual.
Great shot, cool shot. The way it happens, that wide
Long
shot of
shot.
the,
Another long shot.
Yeah,
and then it cuts to
lingerer.
the linger. Yes, it's a good word for the camera in this movie. Linger.
Lingering
Anthony
is
usually
what-
complains about the lingering shots, but you liked these. I'm glad.
I'm
This
not gonna
movie was
lie,
a
right off
giant
the
lingering
bat,
shot.
Right off the bat, I was like, I immediately I hated
Oh.
the giant dolly shot. I
Knew
was
it.
like,
Yeah,
all
it
the way
is.
out and all the way back in. Come on, we
You
You
even
don't
know
like
what's
that?
in that
You don't
box.
like that stuff?
I was just like, oh, like, are we doing this? Is this what we're doing? And then I was
Taking
like,
our time.
What is
I was
what
like,
does
all
this
right,
mean? What is
this
doing
is-
this mean? To
"This
elaborate on
just
what this
the-
is.
Like, do we need to see her come all the way out? And
Listen,
do
dude,
we need
listen.
this shot? No,
if it's in the movie, if it's
Yeah.
in the movie, the director feels like you need to see it. So yes, that's the
yeah,
answer.
but I'm questioning whether he's right or wrong. That's all I'm.
well, that's not for you to question. You just have to watch and
Oh,
enjoy
that's
it or
for me.
don't
I
enjoy it.
question that is
If he's right or wrong, you just got to enjoy it or not enjoy it. That's what
Hey.
it is. It's not right or wrong. It's enjoyable and unenjoyable.
It is. It's one or the other for sure. And I will enjoy it if I want to. You will not tell me to, but I did. Anyway, I was like, "Are we doing this? We're doing this. Fine, we're doing this." And then
What are we doing?
Did he get you?
thing
Did they
about
get
it-
you at the real time pie eating? Is that when they got you?
How was that shot for you?
the what got me is that it's not useless. These shots aren't useless. They're
Right.
useful. They that shot was in the beginning, or that long shot got us comfortable with the house. I love seeing. I honestly I like big shots of the house like that. You know who does that a lot is James Wan in those. He loves like crazy.
Yeah, his are
even-
usually moving. His are usually moving dollies and shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But it was a purpose, and I think that purpose was to when it showed us the house again out front, and it was a static shot with like smoke going in front of it. It was. I think that was. I don't know. There was something to us being back there, and then it being something horrible that made that shot worth it for me. And then the lingering shot of him laying on the bed again. I was just like, all right. I mean, what I was thinking is if this just cuts to the next shot without doing anything, I'm gonna be pissed. But again, it didn't. It lingered enough for you to be like, what the fuck is going on? And then he gets up. And you're like, oh, okay, this is wild. So yeah, it's good. And then I ended up loving it. I ended up loving every shot.
It's interesting. It never gets boring. That's the thing. You're always like, okay, all right, okay, all right.
Something interesting better happen if you're gonna make me sit there and watch it. And the pie eating scene, nothing interesting really happened. She just kind of ate pie. I think she ate it in not even a very interesting way, and then she went and puked it up, probably for real.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
real. I think that
What's an interesting way to eat pie? First of all,
I don't know.
I think
Better
that is
camera
just
angles?
like a grief thing. I think it's just a grief thing.
I
You know what I mean?
of
That's
of
all.
course.
I know you get it, but the point is that well, how would you have eaten that pie then? You say there's a right and wrong. What was she? It was the wrong way. What was the right way?
What would
How
be
do you eat
more
that pie?
interesting
What's the
way?
more interesting pie way?
I don't know. A couple more cuts, and then
Oh,
and then
so
get
it's
to the
not-
next
okay.
scene.
There was
Okay.
I'm
one
not saying
cut.
her performance was bad.
Oh,
I'm just
see,
saying.
that's what okay. That you gotta specify because I think our performance was great. I
I'm
thought
saying,
she was
how
the best part of
interesting
this
can
movie.
you eat a pie with a single shot for 4 minutes
While grieving.
I think it's
with
just
a
like
ghost in the background?
the
What
ghost
was
is
interesting about it
a
was just
lingering
simply
ghost.
the frame. The framing was great, and the lingering ghost there is
Fair,
just the
fair.
ghost being there every now and then was. I was just like, this is fucking
it's great. Yeah.
the background.
It's almost comic relief in a strange way, but it's not.
It
not-
was,
I don't know.
especially when he was talking to the other ghost.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. That
He
was
like,
awesome.
hey, what are you
actually.
doing?
He's like, "What's
"I don't
up?" He's
know."
like, "Nothing."
yeah.
Waiting for someone.
Yeah, and then he goes, "Who
Yeah.
are you waiting for?" And he goes, "I can't remember." And then immediately,
Mm.
I was just like, "Well, I'm back to sad."
Well,
Yeah.
that was depressing. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
funny, and I'm back to sad.
Yeah.
This movie was a fucking Smashing Pumpkins song. That's the best way. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, it's just what's that song? 1989 or whatever it called.
1979, I think.
1979. That's this movie. That song is this movie in a nutshell.
Haven't listened to that song in a long time.
I feel like if you listen to that song right now, you'd be like, "That's this movie."
I might do it. I might not. Never a
The
big fan.
world is a vampire.
It's not that song. It's not. It is, but it's not that song. That's the first Magic Pumpkin. That's the first Magic Pumpkin song I ever heard, though.
That
was a great song. Yeah.
Where we at, Jake?
So happened. He woke up. He decides not to go to heaven. The white door opens up. He could go to heaven. He's like, "Nah, man, I got unfinished business."
Oh, is that the move? I thought he walked through the white door.
Nah, he didn't. He watched it disappear and not go through it.
Oh man, I gotta watch.
No portal for him. Then he just goes home. Just wanders back home.
Yeah, he just goes home.
And then
He decides not to go through it. Honestly, it closed up pretty quickly. I thought it would have given him at least another minute to decide, because that's a pretty big commitment. You're like, damn, I gotta walk through this light. Is that heaven? Like, what's up right now? Give him like 20 seconds.
He might have said something to them in Ghost Talk like,
"There's
nah,
no
dog,
shot that is less than a minute in here, so it was more than 20 seconds."
Yeah, you're probably right.
He just said, "Nah, I'm good. I got shit to do." And we just didn't get subtitles, but Ghost Talk, and it was just Ghost Talk.
I did like the subtitle Ghost Talk. Like
that was good.
I just said that, but
you know what it is about the shots too? They had so little money and probably so little time that they just had to get a lot done. So they probably just choreographed it that way. That they're like, all right, we're gonna linger and we're gonna tell these stories in these frames. You know what I mean?
We got to get 90 minutes out of this somehow, guys. We're
Okay.
gonna make this fucking last
for sure.
The heaven door was I would say 20 seconds or less for sure.
Right, yeah.
It was the quickest shot of the movie. Probably because it was special effects.
I wonder if
those are more expensive.
I wonder if he was just like, well, fuck. Like,
yeah, I know. I
was about to go.
I was about to go in. Like, that's at least another 30 seconds.
I was thinking about it.
At least another 30 seconds. Yeah, because I would be thinking too. I'd be like, damn, I can make this choice. I could stay here. Then probably think about it and be like, I don't want to fucking stay here. But then he's like stuck there.
Or he just was like, what is this? I'm a new ghost. I don't know what's with the door.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to? Oh shit, it's closed.
Handbook for the recently deceased on me.
I guess I'll just go home now. That's probably was maybe the thought process.
I mean, what do I do now? I go home. I
gotta go home.
Gotta walk.
I mean, I'd kill myself, but everyone knows that if a ghost kills themselves, everything just starts over. So I'll just go home.
God, that would have been a funny ass scene if he's just in an Uber.
check his phone.
And then he gets out and the guy in the front seat's like, what the fuck? He didn't even know he was in there. That would be pretty hilarious.
When she was driving away from the house, I was hoping that he was gonna be like, the camera was just gonna pan to the passenger seat. He was just gonna be sitting there.
I would have laughed out loud.
I didn't know we were gonna say bye to it forever.
Yo, that was sad as fuck. Those are great shots. Great shots.
Yeah.
This movie is just so it's
sad.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie.
It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful in every way. Just the message, the cinematography,
the lingering,
the music.
Oh, speaking of beautiful, Casey Affleck, great body. Was he just fucking ripped in this movie?
I mean, he's Casey Affleck, yeah.
Has he always got a good body?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I was, he's not Batman. His brother was Batman.
Brother's Batman. My brother's Batman.
He could have played Batman.
So he goes home and he stares at the kitchen for about just 16 minutes.
Stares at his wife for eternity.
Some random lady named Linda writes a note and leaves.
She brings a pie.
Guess we later learn that's the landlord, but that's the landlord.
Yeah, she brings her a pie.
I think it's is it landlord or her their real estate lady?
I think it might be both.
I think that was her because that's what I thought. I assumed it was the person because she was selling the house.
I think it was this. It was the same person.
And she
was Okay. True.
Either way,
we don't know if they were renting or buying.
That was a good.
They were. Oh yeah, good question.
That was even that thing at the end because in the beginning it was like, who the fuck cares who Linda is? I don't care. And then they told you without beating you up with. Again, it was just they were just they told you just enough to know. And all he says is thanks, Linda, and that's it. And then you're like, oh, okay, that's fucking Linda. Nice pie. Oh, she brought the pie.
Yeah, I said that a minute ago.
Yeah, I know. You said that. You said she brings up pie. I
Yeah.
didn't know she brought the pie.
Oh, I mean, there's only one pie.
And that, I mean,
That's like being like, wait, in American Pie, the pie fucked or the pie didn't fuck? Well, I mean, think about it. Which one would it be?
They make more than one pie.
it's the pie of the
No.
movie.
It's the pie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the pie scene. Yeah,
The
I know.
pie
Everyone
that-
talks about the pie scene. Don't give a fuck about the pie scene.
Rooney Mara eats pie for 5 minutes straight. That's the pie scene.
I would
Then she-
eat
then she-
Rooney
then she
Mara.
pukes. Whoa, me
I
too. But
stopped. I
hey,
Look at the time. Look at the time. What number is this? We're gonna have to delete that.
No, that's fine.
you ain't wrong.
Same. Linda leaves. She eats the pie. She pukes the pie.
Yeah, she does.
And then we're back in Detroit.
They were never in Detroit.
Oh.
This is very central to where. This
So
is
no,
like
so-
what central
So
Texas?
basically,
They're in
she
Texas.
watches.
Great skies in Texas.
Hold on, listen. He watches
What?
her basically get over him and lunge around and be sad for a while, and then she brings a dude back to the house. He gets pissed, haunts him, and then, or actually,
Knocks-
he gets pissed. She
knocks some
bangs
books
him.
over.
Then he knocks some books over. She finds it the next day. Decides to move little by little. She packs
Does
up
she
the house.
end up
but
banging
he-
that dude? I don't think.
I
that
mean,
was
it
I don't
doesn't
think
tell
we ever.
you.
You never see it. Never.
It's implied. She was. She
Yeah,
was.
there's
She
a-
needed,
She
she
like
needed to
goes
bang.
in, then she like feels away, and then she goes out. We never really see what happens.
She needs a bang. You know.
Yeah,
She needs a sad bang. Get a little happier.
I didn't know. I didn't see the bang.
Well,
I
let's
should see
hope.
the bang.
I mean,
Either way,
yeah.
she continues to grieve, and eventually she leaves. And then while she leaves, she puts a little note in the wall.
As she said,
Yeah.
she always does.
Yes.
Yeah.
as she says
She's
she
like
always does in
painting up the
beginning.
walls, and she sticks a little note in the wall.
Yep. And then she
paints
drives
it in.
away.
And she
It's
goes,
like pretty
"Bye."
much.
And
exactly,
he watches her drive away sadly in the window.
Super sad. I mean,
And he starts
we think he's sad.
chipping away.
We can't ever see his face. I thought about that a few times. I was like, I wonder if underneath the cloth,
He's completely
Casey
nude.
Affleck is acting out the face that we all think he should be.
I
I
think
mean,
the
he
ghost
probably is.
face was
I
sad
hope he
enough.
is. It was, but I'm saying, like, I
Just-
hope
and
that
we-
the emotions on his face were also sad because no one's gonna see it. You know, he just really has to stand there if he wants to. He just fucking stand.
I mean, I
there.
could have just stayed there.
We
Yeah.
all could
Yeah,
have done
this-
that job. So I hope underneath there he was acting like really hardcore.
I hope that $100,000 went to him.
I don't think anything went to him. I think her
Probably
and him
not.
did that for absolutely free. Because what are they gonna be like? Here's $10,000. He's like, what?
$65, please.
Yeah. No, they did that movie for free.
Rumar
for
comes on
sure.
set. What's our per diem?
He's like, you can eat this pie for real. She's like, I haven't eaten 6 days. Like, all right, you eat this whole pie, but I'm going to shoot it and we'll use it for the movie. She's like, whatever, I'm starving. It's like,
What hotel are we staying at? Well, those are the sleeping bags.
Yeah, we're actually
We're-
staying in
we're-
this house that's being demolished tomorrow.
Dude, I can imagine though that honestly, there's probably like 2 camera guys, a sound mixer, and probably like 4 other people in this whole fucking crew. It's probably like a less than a 10-person crew. for this
Why
movie.
2 camera guys? You can have 1.
Probably.
I mean,
I said
look,
1, didn't I? I meant to
You
say
said
1.
2.
You said
I
2.
don't know.
I
why
guess.
said 2.
I guess it,
Maybe 2 though, just to do
op
things
and
quicker.
op and AC, DP and AC. I could see that.
Oh,
you know,
oh yeah, I'm
instead of-
talking about bodies because you need an op,
Yeah.
you need an op, and you need an AC. You need those
Right,
2
yeah.
things. Those
Oh,
2
I
things you
gotcha,
have
yeah.
to have.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no reason to have more than 1 camera.
Unless
This
the
is-
DP was
this-
the DP might have been the op too. You know what I mean? That's probably what it was.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
never
that's-
know.
And obviously they had someone pulling focus, so you need the first AC. So you probably had a second AC too. Actually, they probably had a first and a second AC. That's kind of thing you can't really jip on. You can't really
Yeah.
get not do that. You know what I mean? Those guys
Standard
probably took
camera
like
crew
nothing. They probably made
operation.
like $100 a day. Those fucking guys. You know what I mean?
Well, that
Whatever.
ain't union minimum.
I know, but this was a labor of love. The whole movie is a labor of love.
Probably.
All right. Where are we?
David Lowry was probably the fucking DP for all I know. I know that's
Maybe.
DP.
She
So, yeah, so
leaves.
she leaves, and then the
starts
other family moves
he
in.
tries to get the thing. He can't find it for some reason, or can't get it. It's hard
She
to,
painted it shut. She painted it
yeah,
shut.
yeah, and
Yeah.
can't the fingernail through the sheets not working. Ghost nail.
And then this new family moves in, 2 little kids and a mom.
New family moves in.
Yeah, they're cool. And the
Is
little boy
that
and
the little girl that's whistling his Dixie? Whistling
No,
his
that's
song?
the
No.
girl later, with the
The
like pioneer
1920s
family.
girl. Yeah,
Oh, spoiler.
yeah. This little girl and her brother end up seeing the ghost
Do they see him? I don't
Well,
think they
the little
actually see
boy
him.
does. Yeah, the little boy does on the bed. I think when he shoots the laser gun at him, I think he sees him. I took it as he saw him.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying? You know the
haunts
scene
the
I'm talking
family.
about?
Yeah, where he shoots.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't
Where he's shooting
think-
the gun.
because the
I don't
door
know.
opens.
Because the door opens, but as the door is opening and the little girl's running out, you don't see anything. And then after the little girl leaves, the little kid's by himself. I think he sees him because that's when we see him. When the door opens, he's in there now.
I
And
think it's
the little kid sees him.
I think it's more that he like senses his presence. I don't know if he necessarily sees him because there's
I
other
think he sees
times
him.
where I don't know if directly.
Well, I hope he sees him. I hope
don't
he
think
sees
he
him.
does.
Because there's like later when like Casey Affleck or earlier I should say in the very beginning when Casey Affleck kind of sees the weird shimmer of light, and then I think that is another thing, like maybe at the party someone sees like the weird shimmer of light somewhere. Someone has like the weird like he almost kind of comes off as maybe the kid picks up on that and just kind of senses them. It's just also a
like
weird
the door like swings open. He was clearly haunting them.
right, definitely, and we see
then
that
he goes
later when it
crazy.
becomes
Yeah.
poltergeist style and throwing dishes around. Part of me also thinks maybe it's like a kid thing, like kids are supposedly like more like
Exactly.
in tuned with like
They almost like can see
picking up
things
on
we can't. They
energy.
say, yeah,
They're
yeah,
not
yeah.
brushing it off. They're not trying to explain it. They're just like, oh shit, some
Right,
fucked up's right there.
if you
Yeah.
think about like later on, like how time like deteriorates things, how like there's a point to that, and maybe like how kids are in tune, like as you get older, that kind of deteriorates. You kind of lose that as like you get older, you get distracted by life and everything like that. I think there's maybe I might be reading too deep into that part, but there's
No,
maybe something there because this movie is purposely deep in a lot of ways.
I don't think you're reading too deep at all. I think you're 100% right, and I also think like you're talking about it like a horror movie. Like if you guys remember in Insidious, not Insidious, in one of the what's the other ones? Not Insidious, but Conjuring. I think it's Conjuring 2,
yeah.
the one that's in like London. There's a scene where a little girl or a little boy, I can't remember, stares into the darkness and she like freaks out. He or she like freaks out, and it doesn't show you anything. But at that point, like to me, she saw something that we didn't see. And that's how I interpret this too. Like I think he saw the ghost for
That's
sure.
the
And I
first
think,
Conjuring.
so I think she saw something there that we obviously didn't see. I think that goes back to the thing Jake just said about children being more inept to shit like that. So in this movie, like that's why I say he saw that ghost. I think it's
Well, yeah, because there's that
definitely
part
saw
where he's just little boy is just looking down the hallway. They're basically just looking at each other, but he doesn't really react. He's just kind of looking that way as if something's there. But I don't know.
But none of them react to him like none of him react to him like he does. He reacts to him like where he is. Like he looks at him. You know what I mean? Like the mother and the sister never do that. No one ever does. A little kid like looks at him and he points the gun and goes the gun at him, makes the gun fucking make noises at him.
Pointing it at the closet, really, because at one point they cut to the closet as if and show that he's not there, and then they cut to the boy.
Yeah, when the little girl leaves the room, the little boy is by himself and looks at the closet. He's there because little boy sees him.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like we don't.
I'm taking it,
and that's fine.
Like
we don't know, and this is another one of those things with this movie. Like there's a lot that we don't really fully know or have to know. It's just kind of a cool visual presentation, and we can read it as we will.
I've always thought it'd be so cool to see something, but at the same time be so absolutely terrifying because like if you see something, like there's got to be more than that one thing. And if you imagine like what could be out there and like what like a world that would like maybe exist around us that we don't see, like I'd have to know about that. I couldn't just like know a little bit. Otherwise, it'd probably drive me crazy. It'd be some like H.P. Lovecraft story shit where it just drives someone crazy because I can't stop thinking about like the unknowable horrors that are out there that they can't comprehend or something.
The supernatural.
Like, that's like yes, exactly. Or just the fact that something exists beyond our state of being, and you see it, you've seen it. Like that's pretty hardcore. I would be changed forever if I actually.
What if you just like got like the goggles for an hour
like,
and then they were taken away from you.
It's like they live,
but then
it's like they live.
Knew it was out there. You're just like,
yeah.
But
it's
you
like
know, it never fucked with you before, so
no, that's the thing. Like obviously it works because it works. It's working. It's worked. I'm 34. It's worked 34 of these years.
Yeah, because it's that mind of that child too. It's like he doesn't really know what he's looking at. So that's another like interesting thing about like seeing supernatural things. If you do and you don't know what it is, and it's hard to comprehend, like
you don't know.
You don't know how to react to it.
If you don't know, then it is supernatural.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of things to be said about seeing things for the first time, even like, can you like, well, I don't want to, never mind. I don't want to go this deep. I don't want to go
Right.
you got me thinking about shit, but I'm not going to go that deep.
Go
I
ahead.
guess the only thing
Go
I
ahead,
can
go as
relate that
deep as you
to.
want. Have you
know-
seen something?
No, I was going to relate it to like hieroglyphs and religion. And my point was going to just be like, I think people back then who claimed to see either angels or shit like that, it was probably aliens. Like, I think that's a more
Right.
as ridiculous or as far-fetched as aliens could be. For some reason, I think it's more plausible than angels, personally. So I think
or
that's what they were.
saw like ball lightning, something scientific, something provable, something that is real, that then
Sure.
they perceived as something else. But I agree with.
Well, I'm
with
talking about
when
like
they don't. If you can't explain it, then it is supernatural to you. And then the only explanation they had at that point for why a thunderstorm or a hurricane comes in, like a great flood, and ruins everything you've ever known in your society. To you, that's God. But to today, it's global warming.
Sure. Well, we're just advances civilization now, as where there's just
Or
more
we
science.
piss God
You know
off
what I
more
mean?
than ever.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying our science and our technology has gotten to a point to where it's like just more understood than it was back then. That's just the
That's
difference.
the
The only
beautiful
difference.
thing about
as
science.
in to like
Yeah.
explain the things that we may have experienced or seen in that
Well,
sense.
just to explain what a lightning storm is and how it works, or what like weather, how
explain
weather
anything.
works. You know what I mean?
Explain.
Like now we don't, like Anthony said, we don't, when we see a tornado or we see a lightning storm or we see a wave or we see anything that has to do with nature, like we don't get afraid of it if it's not near us, because we know it's
We
just
see
nature
a tsunami
doing its thing.
coming.
You know what I mean?
We don't think it's God anymore. We know it's
Yeah,
like
we know it's a
tectonic
fucking
plates
exactly.
in the
That's
bottom
what I'm
of the
saying.
ocean.
Science made that a thing.
And everything is not explained still, but that's the beauty about science.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got on this. Oh yeah.
We're talking a philosophical movie about time and death. That's how we got
Time.
onto it.
And the
Time,
supernatural.
So where do you think you go when you die? Do you think you get a door like that? Where do you think that door went?
I just hope there's more. As long as there's something after, I'll be happy. If it's nothing, then obviously I won't be happy because I won't exist. So
Yeah, it won't matter.
yeah. But I want it to matter. Not mattering is scary. Not
Then you
having
should-
an
then-
existence is scary.
Then you should be a Christian or a Buddhist
A Buddhist, maybe. Maybe I should become a Buddhist.
or a Mormon
Not a Mormon.
or a
Oh,
Scientologist.
Buddhism.
All
is
great
Not a
afterlives. All great
Scientologist.
afterlives. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just gonna take the I hope it is it, because if I have to like worship for it, maybe it's not even worth it. Just give it to me. Just give it to me.
Oh wow. You
You know
just
what I mean?
want it. You don't want
I
to have
just
to
want
work
it.
for
Everybody deserves it. If you exist and you like can pull it off into a way of like it's respectable, you earned it. Existence hard.
Well, that's
Try to live
that's
a
Buddhism,
life-
right? If you
try to
have
live a
good
life
karma,
hard.
you'll come back in another life in a
That's
better
why I
way.
said if I was gonna become a religious person and join a religion, it would probably be Buddhist.
Buddhism.
Buddhism.
You do look like Buddha. Just kidding.
Got 'em.
This movie definitely has a lot of Buddhist-like philosophy
Sure.
Yeah.
Reincarnation.
in the sense of the cycle
Yeah,
that the
for
ghost
sure.
went through, and then
For sure.
that life is mostly suffering is how the Buddhists look at it.
Yeah.
So the more selfless you are, the less suffering you will go through. And I don't know how that really ties into the note thing, but I think just the way the ghost kind of went through life, he went through a life of suffering to find out whatever was on this note. I don't know, but
I mean, he just had to wait. He just had to wait that shit out again. He's like, he fucked up the first time, and he just had to wait
Right.
until he was back. Wonder how long did he know? Did he know that he was? He just sat there for fucking centuries. What a
I
sad
think
movie.
that's the point. It's like
Yeah.
use your
That's the
time wisely.
point.
Use your time wisely, man.
As a
He
ghost,
literally-
though,
cherish it. Live in the moment. Like the
You're-
only thing he
when he
wanted,
was
the only thing he
alive.
ever wanted was to be with her. Really, she's what made him happy, right?
is he, or he just wanted to be in that house?
I think
Write
he wanted to
music?
be in that house because that's where she was.
I think he wanted to be in that house because that's where he was as a ghost. That was his connection to the house.
I don't think he would have went back to that house if she wasn't there. I think he wanted to go where she was. Because he was still the same person, probably, right? Unless your ghost feelings don't matter anymore, unless you're not in love anymore.
There was a new person.
What?
There was a new him when the time came back around.
What
He
do you
started
mean?
over.
Maybe
New
that was
him.
part of the reason why he needed to. The new himself.
And then the new him died, and then the new him, and then he saw the new him ghost watch her leave.
Right.
That was a little weird. The time was getting a little weird.
Yeah.
Wait a second. The ghost watched the ghost watch her leave? I didn't see
Yeah.
that. I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
I totally missed that.
In the end, right before he gets the note, she
Oh.
in the very beginning, or
So
you
he
know,
was like another version of his former ghost self. So every time it resets, there's two of you. It's like it's like a multiverse, basically.
there's
like a
two,
multiverse.
and then I guess so the ghost that saw him, what would have been rad is if they both disappeared. I don't know
Or
if
they
we
like
saw
fought and like one of them had to get
ghost fight.
chopped in
Ghost fight.
half.
That would have been an interesting direction.
Yeah, that would have been a wild way to go.
No.
Yeah. I mean, sad movie.
What else? What else is there to say story
What
wise?
else?
Like
What else?
Yeah, we got through the
we talked about
pie.
most of it.
the family was there. They did
Yeah,
their
He
thing.
he haunted
He
them.
basically started haunting them because what did he get mad about something? He definitely got mad about something.
Well, I think he just didn't like that they were living like a loving life. Of like he probably wanted a kid. Well, I don't know. I think maybe he was just bored of them or something. Who knows?
He was upset with their presence for sure because I think you're
Yeah.
right. He still thought of it as his house.
Yeah.
And then after that, there was essentially, I don't know if it was abandoned or if it was just frequented by people that were partying. Because it eventually became this big party house, and people were just.
I
hanging out.
imagine one of those people rented that house and personally, like they just had that house. you know?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
IMDb called them squatters.
Oh, okay. So then they
Okay.
know. Then they were
Yeah.
squatting. Okay.
So that's what I wasn't totally sure, because after that, that's when they had that big philosophical conversation where the guy talks
Yeah.
about the cycle of the world and art and all that stuff. And I think it's right after that they just show the house abandoned, debilitated, like the walls are breaking apart.
Going back to the family though, I love I know we talked about him like haunting them, but like I love how he did like the stereotypical knock a picture frame over and and then open the cabinets and he learned how to fuck with the lights and the electricity. I liked how they used those kind of tropes, but you can physically see him fucking with it. Like that was because imagine you at that point you have to only imagine what they're seeing, which is shit just
nothing
flying around the room.
Yeah, just seeing things flying.
This movie was creepier than it let on. Like it definitely had like if you thought about what was going on, it's like that's spooky as fuck.
It was an interesting interpretation of a haunted house. This was a movie about a haunted house.
It was great. It was great
from the perspective of a ghost.
Yeah,
we only see that in what, Casper? Whoa, that's
so yeah. They have the guy. So you don't want to talk about the tweaker that explains everything?
Yeah, talk about him. What does he say? Well, we kind of talked about what he said. This whole podcast, we kind of talked a little bit about it, just existing and trying to make a mark and all that shit, right?
Do you have an interpretation you'd care to share?
No, I was just asking you. We just kind of glossed over it.
I think we talked about it earlier. I don't want to repeat it at all. I like that we were.
He lays it out pretty straight on in what he says. You know what I mean? He's just talking about if you want to exist really ever, you have to make a lasting impression in some way by making some sort of art or some sort of thing that people can remember you for. Otherwise, it's just like dust in the wind.
Dust in the wind. Speaking of dust, the next scene is.
Hold on. Well, actually, speaking of that conversation, that also relates to Buddhism, because impermanence is a very important theme of Buddhism, because accepting that things are not permanent is a very helpful tool in dealing with suffering.
Yeah. I think everybody's just always sad, man. Everyone's just always sad. And
that's suffering.
People just try to get.
Everyone
I
said
don't- you know,
the
you
world
know
is
what I mean?
suffering.
Like, unless
Buddhism's
you don't have
probably
the
right.
capacity to,
Unless you're a
to-
child, basically. Like sometimes
Yeah,
I see
or
a
have
kid
the
like
mind of a
walking,
child.
like I see a kid walking around with his parent. He's like 4. He's got like ice cream in his hand. He's like walking around, like looking at you. It's like, man, you are so fucking lucky. Like you're just existing right now. You're existing,
I've
and
been hanging
people
out
are.
with a 4-year-old for the past 3 days, and
And-
she's sad a lot.
Is she really?
Yeah, she freaks out about all kinds of shit.
Is she sad or is she just like freaking out because she wants to get what she wants?
Yeah.
Like she has what she wants her way.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's not sad though. She's not like depressed. Like, oh, life
I don't
sucks.
know.
Like
There's a high range of
like, come
emotions
on.
Not yet.
in 4-year-olds experience lots of emotions very quickly. I believe.
Yeah, I don't think she's depressed. If she's depressed, that's terrible. I hope you're wrong. Because if a 4-year-old is depressed, there's something wrong.
Is she walking around listening to Smashing Pumpkins?
Yeah, she loves
Yo, yeah,
Smashing
just
Pumpkins.
play her that song, and if she really likes it, then you know it's
Never leave. That one.
no, no, we're no. No.
What song are you talking about? This episode's brought to you by Smashing Pumpkins.
Yo, what movie is that? The joke is like someone said like listening to Smashing Pumpkins, but he's like, oh, I thought you meant like actually Smashing Pumpkins. Is that Austin Powers? she's like, what kind of music do you like? She's like Smashing Pumpkins. He's like, oh, I love to do that.
I don't think that's Austin Powers, but
I don't
No, it
recall
is.
that
It
at
is.
all.
It is. I swear to God.
George, do you know if you went Buddhism, you'd have to not eat meat and not do drugs and alcohol?
you have to shave your head too.
That's fine.
Yeah, are you a Buddhist, Jake? What's up with your knowledge?
I've dabbled.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This
All
is
right.
this movie.
Yeah, that's this movie.
That's this movie, dude.
Grief,
Maybe a little bit.
loneliness.
Maybe a little bit of Nirvana. splashed in.
Before we, I don't know if we can keep playing. I don't know if that for
So,
no one fucking listens.
The that was on Spotify.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was.
I think
Spotify.
I think there's beautiful skies in Texas, and I feel like there's
Yeah.
times, maybe even in this, when they're just destroying the house, where the sky was. I have to imagine them being like, "Yo, sky looks sick right now. Put the sheet on and stand in the rubble. We gotta get this shot." And then
Where's Casey? Get the sheet. It
Get
has
the
to be Casey. It has
has
to
to
be
be.
Casey.
Casey's not here. Well, we had call him. But yeah,
I heard
they-
in
they
I
got
heard it
lucky
in
with
a
beautiful skies.
in an interview with the director that he was saying that in case there was a couple times where they had to do pickups in case he wasn't available, and like Casey would got upset that like they still shot it without him.
Yeah, I mean he committed to that. I can understand that. He did that shit for probably like a couple weeks, like 2 weeks straight. Probably did that shit.
I also heard him say the director, he was saying he didn't know that you weren't gonna not know it was Casey Affleck. He was saying he was thinking you were going to recognize him by his mannerisms, by the way he walked, by the
no
way.
fucking way. You couldn't even see his feet.
That's what.
I mean, yeah, because
but he was
erased
saying
all
that,
body language and facial expression. It's like it's all gone.
okay, I'm just telling you what the director said. You don't have to yell at me, guys.
I'm
He
responding.
was saying that was an interesting thing to have to deal with, that it could be anyone under there. It doesn't have to be him, but him to he was almost seeing it as a challenge for him to be more bodily emotive, and they're just like, no, none of that works. It's just got to be,
Yeah.
it's got to be all camera work.
The fact that it was him under there is awesome, though. It's just like dedication. You know what I mean? Like he wanted it to be him, which is cool.
It's like
Subtle,
Groot.
it's very subtle movements. He never was like you said, he was never like exaggerated or anything like that. Never
And also, I think
dramatic moves or anything.
I read that he was wearing like 10 jackets and like a weird hoop around his head, and like it was very, they made it look that very specific.
Yeah, I think they wanted that very specific like shoulder head
Yeah.
proportion, which they've
Yeah.
not let a human thing, so they had to get that right.
And the head's got to move with the sheet. So
I love that there was no
attached
mouth.
somehow.
Having no mouth was everything. That was so important. The eyes are so good.
The eyes are great.
Yeah, because clearly like, there was some sort of like black it was cut out
Yeah.
eyes, but there was something like behind it, like almost like a hood.
Yeah, you
Something.
definitely can't see his eyes.
Yeah, there's no seeing Casey Affleck. When if we cut a hole in a sheet and put it around our heads, we could clearly see
It
our eyes directly through him.
didn't have to be Casey Affleck.
It didn't, but
They
it's
could have
great
had
that it
Casey
was.
Affleck for a day to shoot those scenes.
It's dedication.
And the director played the neighbor ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was kind of
Yeah.
curious who did that. That never came up one I listened to. That's great.
I wonder why the neighbor ghost disappeared. He didn't really. It didn't seem like maybe he was just so far gone from his unfinished business that he.
Well, didn't
It
he
didn't
say
matter
I
anymore?
don't think
Accepted.
any? He goes, I don't think anyone's coming back, and then he realized
Yeah.
that like he's been waiting, but no one's coming. So maybe it's the realization is what makes him
That's right.
change. Yeah.
I think it was that.
It just
He's
didn't
just like,
matter
oh
anymore.
shit, I've been waiting here forever, and now I don't matter. And when you
But
realize
see-
that is when you disappear.
So they
But
get
doesn't
a
he- but
choice
doesn't the
when they
loop
wanna
back?
disappear?
I mean, I don't know. I think once
How does it work, Shorts?
I mean, in my opinion, the movie ends with him disappearing underneath the sheet. So I feel like that his story of being a ghost is now over,
But where did he go?
right? I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't know where he went. Hopefully, he went to heaven.
Maybe he just went right back to 1940s, 1910s,
Maybe he did. Maybe he did.
1800s.
But I mean, the significance of us of showing us that happen, I feel like at the end makes that probably not plausible.
What? That was just it. Just gave it a happy ending. He went somewhere. He wasn't stuck in that house anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have sucked. And I was just thinking about how lonely that was, man. Like that.
This movie's about loneliness.
Watching it made me lonely. Like I was like, damn.
Longing and loneliness. Lingering, longing, loneliness.
Linger.
Fucking haunted houses and shit.
All right, so finish it up, Jakey Poo. Did we finish it or did you not finish it?
You didn't really finish. Yeah, we got to do the guy talking at the party thing. The house got destroyed. The house then was rebuilt as like high-rise apartment buildings or office buildings, I think, because at one
Office
point he's
buildings,
wandering
yeah.
around and people are having some meeting. And then he's like, fuck this
Which
place,
are
I'm out.
beautiful shots, by the way. Beautiful fucking shots.
Yeah, it has like a Blade Runner vibe of him like looking
Little
out at
bit,
the
little
city.
bit,
Yeah.
And yeah. And this maybe even it could be 200 years after that meeting we just saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time is very indistinguishable for a while.
Actually, now it does look like apartment buildings more than
Yeah, because they could have shifted from the office buildings to something
or
else over
whatever, I
time.
don't
We
know.
just don't see that. Because the office building, like looking at what they're wearing and technology, it doesn't look like it's too far off from when we first see them, the couple there. It could have been, 10 years have passed, and it was all we see is a couple people that live there, then some people partying, and that's kind of it for the house. And then office gets rebuilt. These people, more time passes, crazy technological city
yeah.
sort of looks like.
Blade
And
Runner.
then he kills himself.
Yeah, then he jumps. This is where it gets weird. He jumps off.
Yeah, then it sort of resets.
Also an awesome shot.
Yeah. Resets to what almost how I interpret it was how this is like the first establishment of this being property, at least is what we first see.
Yeah, that's what it
Because
looks
it's like some pioneer guy kind of laying down.
he's staking his claim.
Yeah, staking the claim, literally. And it's that pioneer guy's and his family hanging out doing some pioneer stuff, and the girl does the similar thing as his wife, right? Does she like buries a note or something like that under a rock, something like that?
I don't, it doesn't seem like they're leaving, but she writes something. We see her
Yeah.
writing something for about a shot that lasts probably 17 minutes.
That's when she's humming the
slowly,
song too. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's humming his song.
Then she folds it up, puts it under a nice big rock, and then they get murked.
Yep.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
he watches
then-
her body decompose, which is kind of cool.
That was cool. Too.
Yeah, that's crazy shot. Him just 3 different stages of decomposition, and then that's when it cuts back to him at the house.
Yeah.
And then
They walk in,
that's,
right?
That's when they're showing the house to them, and he's
Linda.
goofing around at the piano. It kind of ties back to that piano. So Linda
New
showing
piano
him off.
goofing.
Kind of being
Yep.
an asshole to Linda.
Linda, honey.
Like, well,
listen.
if I could talk, if you stop fucking around. He's like, yeah, I miss joking around.
Yep. They buy the house. Then it cuts to, I think, just straight up her leaving, and him seeing the other ghost being sad at her leaving.
Well, there was another part where actually it shows him
No more
leaning on
parts.
him leaning on the piano, which loops back to
Oh
that night when they heard the piano sound.
And he comes
And
out
then
to
that's where
investigate
he
the sound, and he's
sits
sitting there.
until
He's
the-
sitting there
yeah.
at the piano. Yeah.
Because he was already haunting the house that he was
Yeah.
not. He was already
It's like
alive.
Interstellar when he's
Interstellar.
behind the bookcase.
Yes.
Time is a flat circle.
great. Comes back.
That's a different movie with that guy, but yeah.
All right.
All right. All
Again, different movie, but yeah.
Time is a flat. Isn't that Nietzsche?
Sorry. It's
No, it's niche.
Matthew
He's-
McConaughey.
He said that's right. 'Cause he says it, and then the Yellow King says it, and he goes, "Shut, like, don't give me that Nietzsche shit." That's a good show.
That's the best 10-hour movie ever made. 8-hour movie.
Best EHMEM.
All right, so
And yeah, then
the family dies.
The family dies. We already got past that when we see them at the piano, and then we see him watching the ghost, watching her, basically doing the same like montage of her leaving a bunch of times over and over again.
Oh,
And
actually, do you
then-
know what they show there? They show a new scene with Rooney Mara and Casey Affleck. The scene when he actually
Writes the
like,
song.
writes the song. Like they didn't see
Oh,
that in the
yeah.
beginning. They took a whole new scene of like just another scene of showing like was it her saying they had to leave or what
Yeah,
was it? There was
that-
some
that was like
wanting
then-
to leave.
Her like fully explaining what they were kind of upset at each other about, which was her
wrapped it
wanting to
up right
move,
there.
wrapped everything up, explained who Linda was, gave us the intel on why they were in the place they were at. We hear the song before, but we see him writing the song, and then it keeps cutting back to her listening to it, then listening to it when they were sad, listening to it after he was dead. But going way back to when he first sees her like living, when he first comes home, and that single, not static shot, kind of pans left, kind of pans right, but she keeps coming coming from the same side of frame, out of the house, picks up something new and leaves the house, like passage of time, but like the frame never changes, and we just see her keep coming in and out like a fucking Scooby-Doo cartoon.
Yeah,
I thought that was a
it's
really
like
cool
another angle, right?
way to show passage of time of her,
Yeah.
living out her life without him. All right, back to the end.
And then, yeah, I think that's basically when she officially leaves. She finally moves, and then he finally has his chance again to get to the piece of paper.
Yeah, he sees her.
And-
He sees her put it in right away. Because doesn't he like almost like not know where it is after a little bit, right before they demolish it? He's like looking in all the other doors.
Yeah, maybe it's something about like that whole thing, how time deteriorates memory and stuff like that, and sort of similar to the other ghosts, how he doesn't even remember who he's waiting for. Maybe as time passed, he was starting to forget again.
Well, I feel like it's like maybe they're just like they're watching other ghosts do the same thing too. They're just keep like if he was like 10 times what he just did, like he's watching 10 other versions of the ghost do it. You know what I mean? By that time, you probably don't remember shit.
Yeah, who knows how many cycles it actually took? It only seems like
Yeah,
it took
it's
the
true.
one cycle.
I mean,
It doesn't show more.
maybe he reads that note and just ends up back in the beginning again, and it just keeps happening.
Possibly. Could be.
It seemed like a happy ending, but maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh,
It's interesting. I mean, because like I think part of it was, I remember him saying something about he doesn't know what she wants. Maybe that's what she wrote. Maybe that's what he was like waiting to figure out or trying to figure out. But it was clearly like either a note to him and then to show that she was still like grieving him, or was it just about her? And I think there's just a lot of mystery to that note. And maybe that's why he's just like us. He needed to fucking figure out what the note is.
the note just said "fuck off."
Ooh, you know what I think the note said?
Yeah, what?
I see you.
Oh.
That's what I think. it said.
Nah.
I like to think that.
I like to think that.
I do not know what I may not be a smart man, but I know what love is.
What do you think the note said, Jake?
He was fucking vegan.
Yeah.
Go on, Jake. What did it fucking say?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have
Come
an
on,
answer.
take a fucking guess, dude. Make something up.
I think it said, thanks for listening to Making Me Watch Movies every Wednesday on Spotify and everywhere else you get podcasts.
That's
Dope.
what it says.
I hope that's what it says.
The Making Me Watch Movies ad.
Probably a sticker on the back.
That'd be sick.
If I read that, I'd poof out of existence, dude.
Like, oh shit. But then that person would never listen to our podcast because then they'd be
They listen to it in heaven, bro.
they'd
No,
poof
They
out.
got
once they
Spotify in heaven, bro.
Once they read that,
Available everywhere.
they go back to the first episode.
Spotify and Amazon Prime, both also in heaven. Promise.
That'd be cool.
Amazon Prime.
Heaven's on Prime.
I was hoping when they went back in time, or like when he came back through time, we'd see him like in the car crash. We'd see like what happened, but we didn't.
Nah.
But we did not.
All right. Well, great
I did
movie.
not.
Pretty much one of the best movies ever made. If you consider the budget it was made for, you can probably consider it one of the best movies ever made.
Best
And then-
$100,000 movie. That's fair.
It's probably the best movie made for under. Like when you talk about micro budget, this is a micro budget movie. Like this is the thing. Maybe Casey Affleck and maybe Rooney Mara both threw some cash into this that no one knew about. You know what I mean? Because I mean they did some things like, but I didn't do much. I guess there wasn't many characters. Like I guess they could make this for $100,000. They just planned it out really fucking well.
And there's only like 30 shots in the movie, so
30 shots. You know that you counted them.
yeah, that's it.
Probably about 30, 32.
all- So there's not. I mean, it didn't. They couldn't have taken that long to make this movie. What, a couple weeks?
Yeah, I think like 2 weeks probably.
2
And Rooney Mara was only in half of it, so
That's true. That's true. Maybe 3 weeks. I don't know.
Rooney's take a week, hang
so
out
was
with your
Ben
buds.
Affleck. I mean, so was son Affleck, baby Affleck.
Casey,
He was
Casey's in
there
it the whole
forever.
time. He's
in
the
the whole
ghost.
fucking movie. He's the ghost.
Maybe not. Maybe
No, he is. He
Yeah.
says it.
Maybe go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I say shit all the time, dude.
It's facts.
Damn
dude.
liar.
Goddamn liar.
I mean, he did lie to us about that whole Joaquin Phoenix movie. Like that was
He
all
didn't
a
lie to
lie.
us. He didn't lie
That
to
was-
us. He
that
made
was
he
all a
made
lie.
that movie to show us. He made
He
the
was,
movie to show
he
us
was
it was
just
a
the
lie.
director. He directed a lie.
He wanted to make his own reality TV show and he used it making a movie star. It's pretty great.
It was a good idea.
That's a good idea. I heard only Rooney Mara knows what that note said in real life.
Probably.
Yeah.
I heard she forgot what it said too. I heard that somewhere.
That's what she said. She probably just wrote some super racist shit on there.
This goes back to like what did what's his name say to her?
She wrote what she did
Scarlett
to
Johansson in Lost
Bill
in
Murray,
Translation. What
yeah.
did Bill Murray say to Scarlett Johansson in Lost in Translation at the end?
She
Yeah, kinda
told
reminded
him
me of
what
that.
Weinstein did to her.
Oh,
That's fucked up. But it's very humorous.
All right. What movie are we watching next?
Skeleton Key.
Nice. Good
Skeleton
choice.
Key. Is it though?
My Halloween pick is
My
Skeleton Key.
second favorite.
Is that a Halloween movie?
It's Halloween enough. It's as
Halloween
Halloween.
enough.
It's
It's
about
Halloween is
skeletons,
this movie.
dude. Yeah.
It's
What
as
makes-
Halloween as
it
this
has
movie
skeleton
is. I'll
in the
tell you that
name.
much.
Skeletons, ghosts.
Skeleton, ghost, same, but different.
All right, good argument. You got me.
Got him.
See you next week.